My name is Douglas. I had a brother, Jonathan, who was 2 years younger than me, but he passed away in a car accident 3 years ago. His wife, Kelly, was left a widow. To support my grieving family, I moved back to my parents' home from living alone, helping them and Kelly through the tough times. In this situation, I uncovered a shocking secret about Kelly. Embarrassed, she made a surprising proposal to me. Dinner tonight is your favorite beef stew. Try not to work late and come home early, okay? I checked the message Kelly sent and replied, "Thanks, I'll be home soon." "Great, be safe on your way back," she responded. I put my phone away and started the car. It felt like a message from my wife, but technically she's not. Kelly was Jonathan's wife, making her my sister-in-law. After Jonathan passed away, she started living with my parents. I also moved back home to support my family. Of course, I was devastated by Jonathan's death, but I felt the need to support my parents and Kelly, and that motivated me. As 3 years have passed since the accident, my family has started to recover. Kelly now works part-time and helps with the housework. I heard that Jonathan fell for Kelly because of her cooking, and honestly, her cooking is excellent. I look forward to it every day I'm home. "Hi Douglas, how was your day?" When I got home, Kelly, who was wearing an apron, greeted me and took my bag and coat to my room. "Make sure to wash your hands. There's a flu going around." "Got it," I replied. I washed my hands as she told me and went to the dining room. Together with my parents and Kelly, we sat at the table eating dinner while chatting. It's the happiest and most peaceful time of the day. "Oh, by the way, Douglas, are you good with computers?" "I use them at work, so I know a bit." My computer in my room suddenly stopped working. "Can you take a look if you don't mind?" "Did anything happen to cause it?" "No, it just won't turn on suddenly." "That's strange. I'll check it out later." "Thank you so much." Although I'm not an expert on computers, I've fixed my tech-challenged boss's computer many times when he said it broke without him doing anything. Of course, I couldn't refuse a request from my sweet sister-in-law. After dinner, I took a shower and went to Kelly's room. She had also showered and was in her pajamas, ready for bed, but she welcomed me warmly. "How is it? Do you think it needs to be repaired?" she asked anxiously, watching me as I checked her computer. I quickly found the problem and got the power back on. "Wow, amazing. How did you do that?" "It was nothing. The power cord was just unplugged." "Oh, so it's not broken. Mind if I check it a bit more?" "Sure, go ahead." Kelly looked down. "I can't believe it was just the cord." "How embarrassing," she murmured softly. I couldn't help but chuckle, thinking she really was bad with machines. The computer originally belonged to Jonathan, and now Kelly and my parents use it occasionally for research. It still has a lot of data Jonathan left behind. Feeling nostalgic, I opened one of the files. He was into photography and often took pictures of our family and landscapes. While looking at the nostalgic photos, I noticed an unfamiliar file. "Oh, that is," Kelly tried to stop me, but it was too late. I had already clicked and opened the file. Displayed were numerous images of the recent pop star Cherry. "Oh my," Kelly blushed with embarrassment, covering her face with her hands. I was surprised and said, "No way, Kelly, you like Cherry?" "Yes," she nodded while still covering her face. "I'm a big fan of Cherry too." "Really?" She looked at me in surprise as I excitedly continued. "I never thought I'd find another fan so close by. Did you go to last month's concert too?" "I did. I was there too. But Kelly, didn't you say you were meeting a friend that day?" "Oh, you said you had a work party, right?" We looked at each other, realizing neither of us had mentioned going to a pop star's concert. I had kept my love for Cherry a secret from my parents and coworkers because I felt embarrassed to be a 33-year-old guy obsessed with a teenage star. I understood that Kelly felt the same way. "Now that you've seen the file, there's no helping it, Douglas. You'll join me, right?" "Huh?" "In supporting Cherry, you'll join me, right? And of course, we'll keep it a secret from my in-laws." "Oh, sure." Though I was a bit confused, I soon nodded. "Okay, let's do that. I'm glad to have someone close by to talk about Cherry with." "Cool, it's a promise," Kelly said, offering her pinky for a promise. We made a pinky promise, forming a fan alliance for Cherry. From then on, we shared a secret bond. We went to Cherry's concerts and events together, discussing our thoughts on her new songs. Unlike me, who worked full-time, Kelly had a part-time job with flexible hours, so she would go to the store on release days and buy my CDs too. Kelly didn't have a driver's license, so I would drive us to concerts and events. We had a win-win relationship as fellow fans. Hey, it's hard to ask, but are you two in that kind of relationship? My mother suddenly asked about 6 months after Kelly and I have formed our alliance. The four of us, my mother, my father, Kelly, and I, were having our usual peaceful dinner, but her question broke the tranquility. We had been going to Cherry's concerts together and spending more time talking in each other's rooms late into the night, which seemed suspicious to my parents. Indeed, Kelly is beautiful and kind, full of feminine charm. I was quite taken with her cooking, but I treated her only as my sister-in-law and tried not to think otherwise. It's nothing like that. Kelly is my sister-in-law. At that moment, Kelly's face showed a brief expression of sadness. I was startled and tried to confirm again, but by then, she was already smiling. That's right. Douglas and I just realized we both support the same pop star and we've been talking more because of that. A pop star? My parents looked puzzled, so we briefly explained about Cherry. Until then, we hadn't mentioned it, thinking it wouldn't resonate with their generation. But it was impossible to keep it hidden in that situation. Just as I expected, my father got angry when he heard about it. Douglas, you're old enough to know better than to waste your money on such things. Why don't you find a good woman nearby and get married? Aren't you ashamed that your younger brother got ahead of you? He scolded me, then turned his stern gaze to Kelly. Kelly, if you have time to spend on such nonsense, you should spend it praying for Jonathan and living virtuously. Yes, Kelly nodded, looking like she was about to cry. I wanted to talk back to my father, but the atmosphere was so tense that I couldn't say anything. Dinner ended on an awkward note, and from that day on, there was a distance between Kelly and me. Even though we lived in the same house, we barely talked and, of course, didn't go out together anymore. Our messages became strictly businesslike, like I'll be home by 7 o'clock, and got it. She no longer greeted me at the door every day. I still liked Cherry, but Kelly hasn't mentioned her since that day. My father's words also lingered in my mind. I'm 33 now and turning 34 on my next birthday. All my local friends are already married, and some even have kids in elementary school. I wanted to get married and have a family too, but I was never popular and I always thought, who would want to be with me? I never took it seriously. My brother Jonathan was always more talented and popular than me, even as a kid. It wasn't surprising that he married a beautiful wife before I did. Instead of feeling jealous that my younger brother got ahead of me, I thought, well, that's how it is. After he passed away, I was so focused on taking care of my family that I didn't have time to think about myself. However, my parents and Kelly have nowadays recovered from the shock of the accident and are living their lives cheerfully. It's probably time for me to start thinking seriously about my own future. With that in mind, I decided to start actively looking for a marriage partner. I had coworkers introduce me to women and attended social events, but nothing seemed to work out. I realized that I was comparing every woman to Kelly. They weren't as considerate as Kelly, they didn't cook as well as her, they weren't as beautiful as her, and they didn't understand my favorites like she did. I knew I shouldn't set my expectations too high, but I also couldn't compromise on what was important for a lifelong partner. Half a year passed with no results despite my efforts. One night, I came home late from a dinner party to find some food covered with cling film and a note on the table. I picked up the note and felt tears welling up. Hi Douglas, please heat up dinner and eat. There's salad in the fridge too. You need to eat a balanced diet. Seeing Kelly's thoughtful note about my health made me happy, and for some reason, it brought tears to my eyes. The happiest moments for me are when I share meals and laugh with her and my parents. No matter how hard I try to meet someone, I can't find anyone more wonderful than her. This realization made me feel empty inside. I realized that somewhere along the line, I had fallen for Kelly not just as my sister-in-law, but as a woman. Douglas? Hearing my name, I quickly turned around to see Kelly standing at the door. She was in her pajamas, ready for bed. Seeing my face, she rushed over in alarm. Are you crying? Are you hurt? It's nothing. I'm just happy, I'm not sure why. I tried to wipe my tears and explain. She looked concerned and gently patted my back. I'll heat up your dinner, she said, warming up the food on the table and the soup in the pot. In front of me, there was a comforting, familiar meal. Thank you very much. I started eating, feeling overwhelmed with gratitude, and on the verge of tears again. As I ate, trying to hold back the tears, Kelly spoke. It's been a while since we've had a quiet talk like this, hasn't it? Yeah, right. You've been coming home late a lot. Is work tough? Well, actually, I've been dating. What? Her face contorted with sadness upon hearing my words. I felt like I had seen that expression somewhere before, but I couldn't place it. It was late at night, and my parents were already asleep. In a fit of frustration, I poured out my feelings to Kelly. I've met a lot of women, but things just haven't worked out. It's because you're so amazing. The happiness I feel every day being cared for by you, I can't imagine being with anyone else. I'm just your sister-in-law, right? Her words felt cold and distancing, but I continued regardless. I know I should cherish you as my sister-in-law, but somewhere along the line, I fell for you as a woman. She stayed silent, looking down. I grew anxious and leaned in to see her face. Suddenly, tears began streaming down her cheeks. Kelly, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought this up so suddenly. I hurriedly apologized, but Kelly shook her head, denying it. No, it's because I'm happy. She looked at me through her tears. Seeing her expression, I remembered the same look of sadness on her face when I told my father about 6 months ago that Kelly is just my sister-in-law. So that means, could it be you've liked me all along too? Yes, I've always liked you. Kelly wiped her tears away. I was stunned but overjoyed. After Jonathan passed away, you tried so hard to support my in-laws and me. I know you were grieving too. That meant so much to me and helped me so much. I loved going to Cherry's concerts with you and spending time together. I wanted it to stay like that forever. I see. After your father scolded us, we couldn't talk as much, but I thought about it a lot. Praying for Jonathan is important, but if that's all I do, I don't feel alive. I want to support my favorite pop star and find someone new to love and support. She looked at me with a determined expression. I've been holding back until now because you said I was just your sister-in-law. I tried not to talk to you and acted distant, but can I stop holding back from now on? Yeah, you don't need to hold back anymore. We'll explain it to Dad again and make him understand. I'm so glad. I'm not going to hold back anymore. She smiled brightly and my heart fluttered. The next day, Kelly and I talked to my parents during dinner. We explained that we genuinely cared for each other and that Cherry's music had been a source of comfort during tough times. My father wasn't convinced right away, but he actually realized that after he scolded us, the atmosphere in the family had become strained and somber. In the end, he said, "If you two are serious, then it is you wish." Hearing that, both Kelly and I felt relieved. From that day on, our relationship changed. We started dating not as siblings-in-law, but as a couple. Honestly, transitioning from seeing Kelly as family to seeing her as a romantic partner was confusing. Even so, my feelings for her outweighed the confusion. We officially got married 3 months later. We decided not to have a wedding or move out, continuing to live with and support my parents. We chose not to have a wedding because we knew some people might judge us for marrying as in-laws. I wanted to protect Kelly from any hurtful comments. Even without a wedding, I don't think our marriage is wrong. Kelly and I will never forget Jonathan, but we have to move forward. For that, I need Kelly, and I believe she feels the same way.